Welcome to Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the fifth dimension.
Welcome to another podcast episode of Merkaba Chakras. It's Christmas time in 2020, and the gift on top of many people's minds worldwide is wishing for good health and wellness to all. So, to answer that Santa wish among many people, I bring you holistic fitness enthusiast Allison Pelot. Now, Allison is a working mom who offers a fabulous YouTube channel and a website going over best practices for simple routines to get you in the healthiest, most fabulous shape that you are destined to be. So with that, Allison, welcome to Merkaba Chakras.
Thank you so much, Vaughn. It's a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. So it's the holiday.
I love it.
So it's that time of the year. So
It
this
is
is
that time of year for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So this is the holiday episode, and how I was thinking, how do I close out 2020 going into the holiday season? Um, what is the one thing that most people want this year? And you know what it is? It's good health. Everybody is thinking about good health because of the global
Yeah.
pandemic, and everybody's going through coronavirus in different ways, affected at different levels, et cetera, et cetera. So however people navigate through 2020, it's about being healthy. So that is the best thing that I think we can talk about and kind of close out this chapter of the 2020 storm on is, how do we live and love healthy in 2021? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so before we dig into your work and kind of give everybody some tips to be healthy in this new fifth dimensional awareness, can you tell us your story for how you got into this work in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my journey started when I was really young. I started out being a kid who was just loved to. I was very curious, and I just loved to um move. I just love to experiment with movement. I would take the swing sets off of my metal frame swing set and stand on top of it, and my parents would be like, get down. I'm like, look at me, look what I'm doing, and I just kind of had a natural I wasn't fearful of it. I just had a natural inclination to just try crazy things. So, and I knew I could do it. Somehow I knew I could do these things. So I literally would like do gymnastics moves without even being taught how to do them. And finally my parents had said, well, we don't want her to get hurt, so we're going to put her in a gymnastics class. And they were like, oh, it'll probably last, a couple weeks, and then she'll get tired of it and want to do something else. Well, I ended up being a gymnast and getting into the competitive team. And I was a gymnast from the age of 5 until 21. I'm 22, sorry. And so I did it for a really long time, and it was definitely it started out being a joy, and then it kind of turned into a job a little bit more towards the end of my career. And but what I did get from that experience is I definitely learned so much about movement, and um, developed an eye for also seeing movement in others movement signatures, kind of how energy moves through a body basically, and the grace that is within that. So that is, over the years I've probably been looking at movement for, I would say, the last, I started becoming a coach when I was in my early 20s, and now I'm 48. So I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
So I've
you
just,
look
yeah. And
fabulous. So
well, thank
you don't even look
you.
48.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, and part of that is because I've learned, these basic principles of health, and I put those into practice, and it really it works better than any product you'll buy out there. So that's why I feel like what I offer people is a very easy, simple solution if they choose to go that way to lasting health and youthfulness. And so, I ended up, really feeling like I wanted to take this path of becoming a coach, and I wasn't really sure how to go about it. I didn't really want to be a personal trainer. My professors, when I was getting exercise science degree at Georgia State, they said, well, you should become a personal trainer. And I thought to myself, I don't really want to be a personal trainer. Like at the time, personal trainers just put people on machines and it just looked boring to me. So I was like, I'm not really sure. I just want to have a chart out and write down, reps and sets. That doesn't seem interesting to me. So I ended up, becoming a gymnastics coach for some time while I finished school. And then towards the end of that, I coached gymnastics a little bit longer and then decided I actually did want to become a personal trainer. But I had some background in physical therapy too, but I didn't want to just be a regular personal trainer. I actually wanted to find, like you said, I think when we were talking, when you were on my show, you said you wanted to go beyond the basics. And I definitely wanted to go beyond the basics with it. Because I had for some time been looking at, been a gymnast myself for years, been looking at gymnasts move for years as well. And I just wanted to be able to help people move in a more graceful, joyful way, a way that just really is playful and helps people just function better and perform better, And so that was where I was at that time. And that led me to the CHEK Institute, which is based out of San Diego, California. And it stands for Corrective Holistic Exercise Kinesiology. I was watching this show, and Paul Chek, who's the guy who started the institute, he was on there with Gabrielle Reese, and he was showing her these moves, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. I just saw that, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to train athletes. I want to train athletes. I want to train people who want to be athletes. I want to train people who want to move better, people who don't have any experience at all and just want to, maybe are in pain and want to get out of pain, those kinds of things. So I went in that direction. But what I was missing at the time was the nutritional aspect of it. So I was a young mom, and I went ahead and, I had 2 kids, and what having 2 children can do to your body as a woman, right? Totally, I mean, it totally, like, it moves the organs around, and some of us get diastasis recti, which is a separation of the abdominal area. And so what I learned from that is that that can cause a slowdown in digestion. It can cause your digestion to be in distress, and just because of the way even your posture is. So, it's called dysbiosis when your stomach sticks out. And if you have, like a weakened abdominal muscle, the muscles in the abdominal are weakened, and everything kind of spills out. And that will create a slowdown in your metabolism and in your digestion.
Allison, I call it the mama pooch.
That's right. That's what it is. It's the mama pooch.
Mama pooch.
Yeah, right. And I was just like, for so long, I was like, I can't look at my mama pooch. It just, I was like, I don't like how this looks. Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
Before I had my 2 children, I love my children and my husband as well. But before I had the kids, I would wear, in summertime, I always wore one piece swimming suits, but I would wear a high cut swimming suit.
Yeah.
With the mama pooch, you can't wear the high cut anymore.
I know, right?
Yeah. And so now, because the high cut will always make you a gal like myself who's not as tall look taller.
I'm the same way. Yeah. Exactly.
It kind of gives you kind of that, like, a little bit more height.
A little bit more with a leg height. Yeah.
A little more leg height, so you'll look a bit taller on the beach.
I like that.
Tricks of the trade. But anyways, that trick was more of a trade for me. So I have the mama pooch, and it has been a struggle. And it doesn't,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how spiritual you are, or how high your energy. You're still in the body, and you still have body things to work with.
exactly.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
All of the stuff that you were going into, because you distinguished yourself initially away from, I'm not the normal fitness coach, instructor, etc., the ABC, all that kind of stuff. You wanted to go beyond the basics and have a more kind of full holistic approach to overall wellness, because everything factors into how well this vessel that our souls incarnate and live through, how well
Yeah.
it functions. So, um, what is holistic fitness? Can you explain what holistic fitness and what makes that different from a normal fitness trainer?
Yeah, yeah, that's a great question. And it kind of it leads where I was going definitely leads me into that because it's more looking from at the person, and more trainers are now doing this. I think they're incorporating some nutrition in with the training, but for the most part, it's about learning how to bridge the gap between your physical and your energetic, right? Because again, it's like you can do all the diets that you want to do and follow protocols and restrict food and do all these things, but if you're not happy, if you're not joyful in what you're doing, if it doesn't resonate with your inner child, all that stuff, then it's just not going to be sustainable, right? And so no matter what you do, the energy of it is not going to match up to what you're trying to do physically, right? So to me, that's what holistic fitness is. It's like getting those all aligned, right? Getting the physical and the energetic aligned together, learning how they work, how they interplay, and really just approaching it practically with practical skills to bring them together and to be able to manage them better, because it's actually not something that we've been taught until now, is how important managing our energy, like our subtle energy body is what I call it, with our physical body, right? And you certainly don't get that from the medical industry. So
Right,
probably more so from like the alternative medicine
right.
people.
I have noticed that. I had a fitness trainer with. I had a girlfriend who really wanted to lose a set number of weight for some kind of event, and so she was able to get kind of a promotional rate if she was able to bring a friend with her. And
Yeah,
so she brought me with her, and I didn't really have a goal. I was just doing it just to hang out and have fun and
right.
get some exercise, get some activity going instead of being sedentary. And it was interesting because we worked at the same type of job. We do
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. We had literally the same routine, and the fitness instructor put us on the exact same regiment. However, I was just kind of letting working with the flow and just kind of rolling with it, and not really having a lot of stress in my life, channeling the
Yeah,
stress out, having pretty much kind of a light energetic load. Whereas
yeah,
my friend at the time, she was um, chronically stressed, really upset about things, lots of dense issues in her life that she was working with. And for me, the excess of weight just kind of, it's
yeah.
almost like the very next moment or very
That
next
makes
day, I
sense.
was like 10 pounds lighter. I was like, well, how did that happen? I don't know. And she didn't lose that much. She lost maybe a couple of pounds, and she was so upset because she worked so much harder than I did.
Yeah,
She worked
right.
so much harder than all the other people in the class did, and she ate even better than everybody else. And it didn't come off very easily. But then we kind of addressed some of the issues, and she worked on some of those dense issues in her life,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden things just started shedding off
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
faster.
right.
And she was having more fun. So I think there is um it's almost like if you have two cancer patients both going through the same thing. and the charts
Yeah.
are very much the same, but one is having a more kind of a more light, positive approach to it, whereas somebody else is having more kind of a negative approach to it and kind of like
Right.
putting a lot of resistance on the way they feel about the therapy. They've already found this in science that the
Mhm.
cancer patient that is doing the art therapy, being positive, watching and listening to happy, healthy things is recovering faster,
Yeah.
quicker, and better than the alternative. So is it the same? Is that
It's the
kind of
same
how it,
principle. Yeah,
so it's the
because your
same thing in fitness?
cells are your cells are responding to the messages that you're giving them. And the other part of it is how science also kind of backs that up is that, you have your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. There's two parts to your parasympathetic. There's a facade kind of part, and then there's a kind of part that's like digest and rest and digest, I think is what it's called. And so those are the kind of, you want to be in parasympathetic a lot of times, right? You don't want to be in sympathetic all the time. You might want to be in it for a short time. Like if you're having a hard workout, that's fine. But then you want to bring it back down to balance again. So if you're always in that sympathetic mode, you're going to have a hard time regenerating, healing, having any energy for your immunity to work better too. And as well as just gaining muscle and shaping your body up differently,
Mhm.
because shaping your body is all about regeneration. So really what we're doing when we're working out is we're breaking muscle down and then it's regenerating. So it's really, a lot of it is the rest and recovery routine that's super important, right? So if you're always under stress, you're not going to also digest your food well, and so you want to simulate the nutrients, and nutrients aren't going to get to the tissues. It's kind of a whole cascade of things there. So my recommendation, this is what I work with my clients on. We get clear on where we are. We do assessment. We get clear on our values, our personal values, what is important to us. um, and then y- y- learn how to learn the skills that you need to get your nervous system back on track, right? To start feeling calm most of the time and grounded in your body instead of anxious all the time. And this is becoming a huge issue, especially now with coronavirus. And it's really like an underlying stress that many people are experiencing.
Right, the COVID-15,
Yeah,
the
and that's why people
COVID-10.
are gaining weight. Exactly, because there's this. It's funny. My friend gave me this analogy, and
It's
I
like we're
thought
all
it was
going
really
our
good.
it's like we're all going through our freshman year all over again in college.
Exactly, that's what they call it, the COVID-15, right? Exactly, that's so true. Except for in college, you were having fun, and this you're not. But but this But, he said basically it's like if you were to, you may think, okay, I'm not really stressed out. I'm at home all the time. I've got, yeah, a pretty good life. Nothing's really wrong. But at the same time, there is when when I don't know what it's like where you live, Vaughn, but like where I live, like people, everybody's wearing masks outside. People are turning their head to you when they see you. It's just kind of a weird time where like the social aspect of life is missing. And I think that is a stress for many people too. So again, it's like almost like being in Vietnam and having all these bullets fly by your head and you're trying to meditate, right? So it's like you can't really
That's a challenge.
Yeah,
How can
that's
you
the
be
challenge.
peaceful? How can you be peaceful in time of not
Exactly.
of unrest?
So, yeah. So it all starts with grounding yourself. And I help people do that through both nutrition and fitness. Those are your basics, those are your foundations. You have to be able to do that in order to be spiritual in a way, because it's really, really hard to navigate the energetic body without grounding the physical first. And so I think that's really important to know.
Right, right. And in terms of like grounding the physical, I mean, because what you've touched on in terms of grounding the physical is um, finding a way to navigate and find your inner bliss while
Yeah.
the world is not quote blissful at the time. Because it's always easy to be blissful and zen and kind
Yeah.
of like calm when everything's hunky dory.
Exactly.
All
This
right.
is the challenge we're in
This
right
is
now,
the
right?
challenge. But when things aren't hunky dory, that's when your true nature and your true
Yes.
beingness is necessary.
That's
So,
when the rubber hits the road, so to
yeah,
speak. Yeah.
I found this that very very interesting too, because I remember when coronavirus um the actually started going early in 2020, and the lockdowns were happening in the United States. All of a sudden, um, so many quote metaphysical spiritual people were just in panic mode. They were
Yeah.
thinking it was going to be Armageddon. I mean, everything that they've been
Right.
talking about in their whole career just shot out the window. And I was like, get a grip on yourself, people. What happened to consciousness?
I know.
What
Well, that's
happened
when you don't
to
have the groundedness, right? And your values.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like you're failing the test. So
Yes.
if you're failing the test, and you're the one exhibiting, um, the grounding for people who are, trying to mirror and kind of look to you as, kind of like children when everything is not exactly perfect, they look to the parents to kind of gauge,
Yeah.
how should I be? Should I be worried or should I not be worried?
Right.
And that's what I
Sorry.
saw. No worries, that's what I saw as well.
Forgot to turn this off. That
So
was a
that's
good,
what
yeah.
yeah, that's what I noticed, as well, is that, um you know it is in times that aren't perfect that
Mm-hmm.
the essence of people come through, and it is those times where what you what you be needs to, come forward. You need to ground yourself.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: what are the recommendations? Like, you said that food is one of the ways in which food and exercise is one of the
Mm-hmm.
ways in which you can kind of ground yourself and kind of keep a healthy equilibrium,
Yeah.
with your body at times of seeming chaos.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to just sit in front of a box of donuts all the time and
Oh,
binge
yeah.
Netflix. It's
Yeah,
so
but how do you
easy.
feel? It's just, it's again, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you can do that. And that's fine, but it's like, is that serving you anymore? Do you want to be, calm and grounded, and do you want to feel good in your body? It's about really bringing the joy into it, because if you're not feeling, honestly, I mean, I personally, if I don't feel good in my body, I'm not good to anybody, right? I just don't feel like I don't feel like I could be a good coach, a good mom. It is my top priority to feel good in my body every day. I want to wake up, have energy, ready to start the day. I want to be able to serve others and just have fun. And so in order to do that, I have to have energy. I have to be rested. I have to have eaten, have to manage my blood sugar, because that's one of the biggest things for really staying calm and grounded with your food, is actually managing blood sugar properly. And then you have to really, these are the basics, just have good food quality. And what does that
Right.
mean, right? I
Yeah, what
mean,
does that mean? What are the recommendations that for food that works best for different body types and lifestyle? Is there a certain food recommendation for certain lifestyles and for certain body types, or is it a one size fits all kind of thing? I know. Tell us
well,
more about that.
yeah, that's a great question, because really in the beginning, it's kind of, I would say the two biggest things you can do are really focus on food quality and blood sugar regulation. If you're not doing those two things, then anything else you do isn't really going to matter. Um, so the food quality is, of course, clean, organic meats, grass-fed beef, wild-caught seafood, organic chicken. Any of your meats need to be clean, right? What does that mean? That means that they're not eating, uh, GMO corn and soy. They're eating either grass from the ground. They're eating, what they're supposed to be eating as animals. Okay, and if they are eating some kind of grain, it's organic, at the very least, right?
Well, let me ask
So,
you this. How about
uh-huh.
people who can't afford to go non-GMO organic? Because, you know, I mean, when I was a kid, when you were a kid, there was no such thing as GMO organic. There was no different. It was just food, and it was
Yeah.
all just natural. But now, all of a sudden, we decided to make designer foods, and so now we're paying more for natural organic and cheaper for designer foods or GMO or modified foods. So that's cheaper. So how do people who can't afford the organic stuff, how can they supplement? What are some of the things that they could do to kind of get more of the holistic food into their plate?
Well, I would say, first of all, it's not cheaper. It's not cheaper to buy non-organic food because you're paying for it in taxes anyway. So they're subsidizing these foods, right? So you're actually paying for it. You just don't not right away. You don't see it when you're buying the food. So
Explain that, because I don't think everybody knows that.
yeah, so I might not do it justice, but Eugene Trufkin wrote a book called Anti-Factory Farming, Anti-Factory Farm Shopping Guide, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
And he's been on my show before, and how he explained it is that farmers get subsidized. They get these some of these farmers that work for companies like for some of the companies that do the GMO kind of feedlot animals.
Mhm.
Um, factory farm basically animals, they get subsidized from the public, right, from our tax money. They get extra money to do that, so they're getting paid to give us crappy food, right? I think
Why
so.
is that? Why is that? Why?
um
What's the
that's a good
incentive?
question. I'm really not sure.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's just that the you know they want to have. I think originally maybe there was an incentive to be able to give more people food that was affordable, right?
okay.
And but again, it's not really. It doesn't pan out, right? Because we're still paying for it in a different way. So um,
Right.
my
I mean,
biggest, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, they've done studies on modified foods that it actually um is not as nutritious,
Yeah. So
and
yeah.
also that it contributes to more kind of I don't know what the word is, but more fat on your body.
Inflammation. Yeah, inflammation.
Inflammation.
Yeah.
And there's been
Yeah.
lots of studies on that modified foods may seem cheaper, but
Yes.
it's actually causing long-term inflammation and less nutrition. So it
Yes.
so
You're
the
not
the
actually absorbing the nutrients that you're
right,
getting. Yeah.
right. So the
And
food,
yeah.
like so the turkey, for example,
Uh-huh.
holiday season,
Right.
we're gonna eat a lot of turkey. The turkey might look like a big butterball, but in
Right.
terms of nutrition, the skinnier turkey that is organic is actually has as much, if not more, nutrition than the big butterball that is like much heftier.
Well, it's probably got more water in it too, the
Yeah,
turkey that's
yeah.
bigger, right? It doesn't have as much nutrients, it's more water. That's why it looks bigger too, but
So it's inflated
yeah,
too.
it's inflated, it's inflamed. You're
It's
eating something
inflamed.
that's inflamed.
So
So,
the food is
yeah.
inflamed, and then we're gonna eat it, and then it's going to also I don't know, I'm not sure if the word is inflame or
Well, you get sick
inflated.
over time, right? Either get like some kind of food allergy over time. There's a lot of people, come up with autoimmune issues later from that they've been kind of proving through science that a lot of these, because it's long-term inflammation. So what does that
Inflammation.
train your body to do? It's like it trains your body to create autoimmunity, right? And so that's not good, right? So so then therefore you're going to have to be paying more in medical costs too. So it's like, to me, you don't really get
It's
a
like a
lot of
cycle.
nutrition from that food, and
Right.
you end up getting long-term health issues. So the cost is like, I mean, it's about the same really, and you're getting a higher, if you go organic, you're getting a higher quality food. And honestly, a lot of times, like I'll go and look at some of the crappier food that's being sold, some of the
Mhm.
junk food and stuff, and
Mhm.
it's pretty expensive. I'm like surprised because I never buy it, but I'm just like always surprised at how expensive it is, because I'm always in my mind thinking, oh, sure, that's cheaper, that's why people are buying it, but it's actually not a lot of times.
Mm.
And it's just that's the message in people's minds, that that's something that's cheaper, right? And it's,
Mhm.
so if you were to shop in a way that's with more awareness, you can do it in a way that's, where you can save money. I mean, like Trader Joe's has a lot of options for
Trader
organic
Joe's
and
is
those kind of
it's
things.
expensive too for
Do
a
you
lot of
think so?
people.
Really? Yeah.
For
I
some
mean,
people, they think
there's
it's
food stamps.
expensive.
It also, you can use food stamps at farmers markets as well. I mean, that's a
Right.
thing,
Farmers
you
markets
know.
is really good
Yeah,
too.
I would say,
Or
farmers
buy
markets are
direct
great because you're dealing directly with the
the
farmer there,
farmers. Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
always ideal.
What
But
about growing your own food?
that
Can
is
you
top notch right there. Yeah, if you could
Yeah.
grow your own food, that's even better. We lived off of our vegetables this summer because we just grew everything in our backyard,
And
right?
then you
We
just
didn't
shove
have
it
to
into the
buy any.
freezer when you didn't.
Yeah,
So
you
now
can
you have
can
stuff.
them too, and those kind of things, just to learn how to do it, but you can buy
Yeah.
a whole cow, and store it in your freezer if you have a freezer, and that's
My
also a
parents
thing.
did that growing
Yeah.
up. Yeah, my friends were like, "Why would your parents buy a whole cow and then stock it away?" They just thought it was, and I was like, "I don't know. Immigrants do funny things."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I get it. But I get it. But I get it because that is there's a lot of cost savings, and
Yeah.
obviously
Well, if you
there's a
were
lot
to
of.
actually pay attention to it, you probably would be maybe discovering you're spending more going out to fast food restaurants, or, you know, um, maybe, there's just a different way to look at it and do it. There's always a way. We're so creative that way.
Oh
So
yeah.
if high quality food is a priority to you, you're going to figure out a way to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of people that grow food in their yard, even in
Mhm.
their balcony. If they live in an apartment,
Yeah,
they start
exactly.
looking at creative ways to grow like a cheer system in their balcony, aquatic growing. So there's lots of
Yeah,
different ways.
hydroponic. Yeah, yeah,
Hydroponic. So
yeah,
there's lots of different ways, and I really see a lot of people, if you can like supplement some of that into your diet, then you're going to cover
yeah.
that cost, and then you're going to kind of eat more of that and less of the modified if you can't afford to go completely organic. So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
that's really good to know. So you're either going to eat it now in good health, or you're going to eat it later in bad health.
That's right. That's right.
So
Pay
you
for
just
it now or pay for it later, right?
wow, that's pretty that's pretty eye-opening. Now, how does somebody achieve fitness with a sense of purpose? So like, I mean, because you seem to have a sense of purpose of all this. It's not just to look
Yeah.
good and look great in a picture. So
Well, thank you.
yeah.
Well, I think the what I realized was well, my personal journey, a little bit of background there is, I became an athlete, but I secretly wanted to be an artist. So I actually, I forgo went that, I guess is the word for it, for went that, and went into being an athlete to please others in some ways. So it's just something I've realized as an adult. I mean, like, oh, okay, so this is why I ended up here, which is great. I learned so much and I'm doing what I'm doing because of it. And at the same time, I now ask myself, who am I doing this for? Right. Before, when I do fitness, it was about performance. It was about getting attention. It was about, meeting others' expectations, or needs, and that just isn't going to cut it for me anymore. That's not passionate for me. That's not what speaks to my heart. So now my sense of purpose as it relates to fitness is fun, is joy, is bliss. What brings what lights me up, those are the questions that I ask for myself. And also, I'm also asking myself, like, who am I doing this for? So everybody who's listening to this just needs to ask themselves, as it relates to any kind of health regimen you're doing, diet, fitness, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? You're on the right track, right?
Really good, really good. Now let me ask you this: what are some easy exercises or meditation techniques that people can use to relieve instant anxiety? Because instant anxiety is something that a lot of people are experiencing right now because of the pandemic and just different things going on in current
Yeah.
affairs or in their lives. So, you know, I understand it.
Well, yeah. I
How to,
think,
yeah.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah. How to, what are some quick meditation or exercises that you recommend people do to kind of, if they feel that panic attack or they feel that instant anxiety about something that sets them off, what's the best way
Yeah.
to address that?
I would say I would say connect with your breath first and foremost, right? Feel into your body. If you're not grounded in your body, if you're out of your body, that's when we're most anxious, right? So the best way to get back into your body is to place your hands on your heart, take a deep breath, and just feel into your heart. And that will instantly get you back in your body, right? It calms. Even just placing my hand here, I feel much calmer because you're connecting with your heart. When we're in our head, everything's up here. It's all about thinking, thinking, thinking. You're not connecting down here. You're not connecting with your heart. And so that puts us in a state of stress because again, we're disconnected, right? And that I think is the hardest challenge for most people is to be in their bodies and know how to be in their bodies. And that's a lot of what I teach as well. So, some techniques, I definitely love meditation and I recommend my clients do a clearing meditation, but also I think a
What's a
lot can
clearing
be done.
meditation that you do?
I
Can you
have, well, I
share
have
a
a
technique?
coach. Yeah, I have a coach that taught me a technique where she taught me how to, bring the light in through the crown and bring it all the way through the body. And what you can do is kind of bring it into each chakra and
Can you
just,
share that with us really quick? So maybe some people might want to do that before they work out to kind
yeah,
of get into that space.
yeah. So I just meditate on this light, this white light coming down from the sky. And actually, before I even do that, I actually connect to it. So I connect to the light. And so what I do is I'll just share with you what I visualize. I visualize myself as like one of those cartoon superheroes going up to the sky, flying up to the sky and connecting that way. Like kind of like, I don't know, there was a Super Friends show that had something like that where the twins did that. And so connect down, it hit, comes down to my crown, connects into me. And I start with my crown, clearing that out, and then I go into my head, into my ears, into my nose, mouth, throat, into, hitting all the chakras, filling them up with light until I get to my feet. And then I imagine something, a cord coming down and grounding deep within the earth. And then a crystal, and whatever color that crystal is whatever it is, so sometimes I imagine it to be blue, sometimes I imagine it to be pink. And then you're wrapping your cord around the crystal because you're grounding yourself into the earth. And then you're also letting that stuff, anything that isn't serving you, down into the earth. And then the earth is sending her energy back up through your body and filling it back in with light, right? And then you're coming back in to connect with the higher part. So that in a nutshell is what I'm doing. And then I expand my energy out. I kind of do it in phases where I expand it out past my body, expand it out past my home, expand it out past my city, and then expand it out past the country and then the planet. And then even beyond that if I want to. So that way, when you're expanding your energy, and these are all practical strategies for really using energy to be able to step into a new body if that's what you wish to do. If you want to create a different body, you have to create a new energy. Otherwise, you'll
Mm-hmm.
just gain the weight back, right? So we're expanding the energy so that I am bigger than any situation I come across, any person, any problem. My energy is bigger than that. It's not a thing, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making myself small to fit into that situation. I'm expanding my energy out so I am bigger than that situation, if that makes sense. So, and then making also space for the new opportunities that are going to come in, right?
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really good. I'm as you were saying that, I was doing it.
Oh, that's cool.
I was
Yeah.
doing
It's
it
one of
as
my
you were
favorite
saying it.
meditations. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I always say that everybody is an energy field. So how big of an energy field do you want to be?
It's
And
infinite,
it's
right?
infinite. And I love
Yeah.
that. And I love that technique that you just shared to kind of clear your space about feeling anxiety and instant panic if it comes through
Yeah.
and anything triggers it. I love that. Just feel the expansion of your Merkaba. That's what you're saying. It's the expansion of your
Yes.
Merkaba. And I
Exactly.
love how in that technique that you share, you tied it into the oneness with earth, with everyone, with everything in
Yes.
creation. So that was beautiful. I
And I
love
have
that.
to give my coach credit for that. She taught me that. So her name is Hannah Beer. And she really taught me how to use energy practically to in a very practical way. I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Great, thank you so much. Because now I can use it to actually shape my reality, right? And we can all do this. It's accessible to everybody. And that's what I love about it, is that you don't have to, be stuck in a paradigm of you don't feel like you can change anything. Like, you can. It's just about, like, you haven't thought about it a different way yet. And so that's another reason why I put people through movement sequences in the beginning too, to get their mind out of it, because taking the mind out of it gets you into your body, and your body knows what to do. It has its own movement signature, and then we can kind of step into your intuition without overthinking it. So that's another approach I like to help people with, and grounding themselves as well.
That's really good. Now, yeah, do you use any kind of like image, like, projection techniques where they can
Yeah.
kind of visualize themselves in whatever outcome that they're working on? Because I've seen this as well. Well, let's say somebody loses 150 pounds. Okay, it's
Yes.
wonderful. But in their mind, they still see themselves as the 150-pound overweight person. And
Exactly.
so they never really give themselves full credit for and to step into that new person that they have become right in front of them. So do you do anything of that kind of technique to help people work to step into their new selves?
Yeah, I think that that's a great question. Actually, I think, again, it's with it's changing your energy, right? So we're kind of letting go of the energy that was around the person that was before. Um, just like weight, it's baggage. Energy can be baggage too, and it can present itself and manifest itself as extra weight, right? And that's just how it works. That's the physical is a manifestation most times of your energetic, a lot of times. And um so I think, yes, that's very important to be able to get clear with that, and step into a new type of energy, whether it's self-worth, whether it's confidence, whether it's strength, whatever you need, that you can get from, feeling that through exercise, feeling that through, meditation, and those kinds of things. But yeah, I think that changing the energy would be one of the most important things, but also, taking action, taking action, inspired action, like on a consistent basis. Like, if someone, uh, weight loss, especially, that's going to be something that's going to take time, right? Usually you're going to have to be in there for the long game. So, um, you have to have, you know, uh, a long-term plan for that, and take and continue to take inspired action that's fun for you, that you're enjoying, right? So again, if you lose the weight and you did it doing something you really don't enjoy, that was really hard, that was very restrictive, that you didn't enjoy one lick of, you probably, you're not going to probably do that again or stick with it, right? So
Yeah,
it's
the
got to be something that's
yo-yo.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you put
totally.
yourself in that yo-yo. Now let me ask you this: because you have a lot of background in energy healing, and you incorporating that into the wellness aspect of fitness. So, how do you use your background in energy healing to prep the space of your clients, either remotely or in person, so that they can have the best session?
Yeah. So
How do they clean their space?
first and foremost, I have to clean my own energy. So I come to the table clear and grounded and aligned. So I'm coming there, to the session with my energy aligned. I am, clear. I'm a clear vessel for them. I'm not thinking about other things while I'm in the session with them, right? I'm totally present with them, and that's my job. So the more present I am with them, the more grounded they're going to feel. Because if I'm sitting there and I'm looking at my phone, or if they can feel that I'm not paying attention to them, that's going to make them more anxious, right? So that's one thing, just as a trainer, that's very important. But also, you can clear their space too. So as a coach, again, you can use that white waterfall technique of thinking about light coming down and enveloping the building that you're in, and if you're on a screen, you can bring it into the screen and bring it into their room as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have permission from them to clear them, then you can clear them as well. And if they're your client, you probably have gotten permission already for that. So um, you know just imagining, again, like I talked about earlier with that meditation, you can just do a quick little white, light waterfall, filling the body, clearing everything out, grounding. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's real simple. I like to make it simple. I don't like to make it complicated anymore because it's not fun for me when I make it complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Simple is always better. More complicated, the more you lose the message and the point, and then
Yeah.
ego walks in
Yeah,
into it.
yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
I meant to add on. I knew I was going to had something else to add to that other question that you had about weight loss and the visualizing, because I'm writing a book, and this is part of what I write about in the book too. I have It's called well, I'll
give us a
release the
teaser. Give it,
title. Yeah,
give us
yeah.
a teaser. We'll do another
Well,
book interview when it comes
yeah,
out.
okay, that sounds good. Yeah, so it's just everything I learned and how to bring, but a lot of what we talk about, bridging the physical and energetic, but it goes a lot deeper, and what health really means, and our definition of it, and like what it could mean. But really, it's about like learning how to unconditionally love yourself, right? In some ways, and so with that, one thing I used to do is visualize when I was a gymnast. This is so actually important. Like I used to visualize myself doing this trick that, a skill. Until I could do it, I would visualize an Olympic gymnast doing it until I could put myself in her place. And then I would be able to do it then, right? Because I would have visualized it so many times, and then I believed I could do it. So it's the same thing with like what you're talking about with weight loss, or if someone has some kind of a goal for higher performance sports, or even just to get out of pain, because that can be pretty kind of a learned helplessness state in itself. But really, what I have people do in my this both in my online course and then also personally, like when we work one-on-one together, we do kind of a old fashioned, you can either do an old fashioned vision board or something on Pinterest, and I have them put all these pictures together to embody the energy. It's about the energy that they want to embody, right?
Hmm.
And so it's not necessarily something, I mean, if they choose to, that's fine, but it's not necessarily something about like, okay, this is what society tells you health and beauty looks like. That's not what it's about. It's what you feel like. You're defining it for yourself, right? You're creating it because after all, that's what we're doing. We're creating our life. We're creating our bodies, right? On a
Yeah, we're
daily
creating.
basis.
Right.
Yeah.
This whole thing is like the Aboriginals of Australia would say that we're the dream makers.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
this whole reality. This is the dream world,
That's
and
right.
the spirit
Yeah.
world is the real world. And it's I know because I do hypnosis. with my clients and their sixth senses, oftentimes when they go in, it seems like a dream, but the more they go in and focus into the vision that they're seeing in under hypnosis, that starts feeling more real. And then
Yeah.
the reality where I'm sitting in the room, or I'm talking over a Zoom call, giving them a quantum hypnosis session. They call it BQH for the online version, just technicality.
Right.
But but anyways, while they're doing it, and then they come out and they're like, oh my goodness, I got so far into my consciousness and my psyche in the hypnosis vision that felt more real than this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it really is like wherever you focus on. So what I found interesting, and I was watching and going through some of your materials on your website, is that yes, you go into fitness, everybody can do a push up, they can do a crunch, et cetera, et cetera. But the value is in that reprogramming of how you see yourself.
Yeah.
And a lot of what I found when it comes to as a consumer looking for fitness trainers, et cetera, is um, it's really about reprogramming kind of how do you see yourself. Are you all, like I said earlier, like are you always going to continue to see yourself as 150 pounds overweight even
Right.
if you've already gotten fit,
Mm-hmm.
or you just work yourself back to that, or whatever the thing is. So it's all about just reprogram like breaking down the conditioning that
Yes,
has brought
exactly.
you to that point. So let me ask you this. So you offer one-on-one training, and you also offer it as an online fitness course. And right
Hmm.
now during the pandemic, and for a lot of people, that's still very, very top of mind. So can you tell everyone what they can expect from your online offerings?
Yeah, so right now I'm offering the Create Your Food Foundation course online. You can buy that as a self-study course and just go through it on your own. There's also a Facebook group that you can be a part of there. It's right now it's very cheap. It's $47 because I wanted to give everybody, a really something that was doable. I want to give everybody opportunity to do this until, before the next year, because I know it's been a hard year for everybody. And I would really
We
love
got to
to
get
see
rid of the
people.
COVID-19.
Yes, I'd really love to see people trust in their health again, trust their bodies again. This is kind of what I'm teaching. This is what I'm teaching here. I'm helping you create a relationship with yourself because that's ultimately what it's about, right? So I offer that. We go through the whole thing. It's not just, it is about food, really the basics of eating, like how you create that relationship with food, but also getting clear on your values, helping your nervous system calm down, and also go through circulation and movement in there because I feel like that's essential for digestion. And then giving you, some foods and advice on kind of foods you could use seasonally too, because there's certain nutritional deficiencies that can happen each season as well that we need to pay attention to.
Which ones are
So
the most common ones? Is it a lack of like I know for some areas it's a lack of vitamin D. For some people it's a
yeah,
lack of vitamin
definitely
B. I
vitamin
mean,
D. Yeah, and
so
yeah, so when we have low light in you and I's area, the Pacific Northwest, like we have these days of darkness for the most part. Yeah, definitely not getting vitamin D, but we're also not getting a lot of vitamin A, which is
mm,
really important for synthesizing thyroid hormone. Thyroid hormone needs, or your liver needs that
what
in
kind of
order to
foods have
convert it.
vitamin A?
Um, it actually oysters have vitamin A,
Oh, I love
which I love
oysters.
to eat.
Oysters
Yeah,
and
they're
wine. I
like
love
if you
that.
just want exactly if you just want a quick dose of vitamin A, go for the oysters. Also liver, so I like to do a pate, and really you need to just all do those like as needed or once a week for something like that, and
Mm,
that should be good unless you're feeling like you need more. But those are my go-tos for I really because if I start feeling not great, I'm like, oh, okay, I need more vitamin A. This is what's going on. So I'd have
I
some
see.
oysters or have some, liver, and then I feel instantly better. I'm like, okay, that's what was going on. So, and also you can do light therapy, use red light and that kind of thing in the
Oh yeah.
wintertime or
Yeah, yeah.
sauna, which is
Hmm.
really great for your thyroid. So anytime, any way you can really support your thyroid, especially women in the wintertime because it's dark,
Hmm.
those are the ways nutritionally. And of course, with light therapy. But yeah, those are the two top ones that I
And
would
where can they
recommend
get
for that.
light therapy? Because you know,
Yeah.
I've looked into that as well. Do you know where they can get light therapy? Is it something that you can like order and it
Yeah,
comes
well,
in, or?
the red lights, you can get a wall of red lights, or you can get a single red light and just sit under it at your desk, or during the
Oh,
day, the
okay.
red light. Or we have a little wall of them that we got on Etsy, and so there's like there's a red light and then a heat light and then a red light and a heat light kind of alternates. So we
Right.
actually took this grow room. And then like made it into a sauna. So we have this
Kind of getting
heater
like
and the
photon therapy.
Yes, exactly. So I
Photon
love
therapy.
that in the wintertime when I use it. It just instantly makes me feel like so uplifted. And so again, like depression, anxiety, these things happen a lot more in the wintertime. We have lower immunity in the wintertime. It's simply because we're not getting as much light, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
And
so it's stressful on the body in that way, right?
yeah, right. They've already proven it
Yeah.
in science that basically, when we're consuming foods, all we're doing is consuming light.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
foods that
I
have,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've proven it in science.
That makes sense.
The foods
Yeah.
that have the most nutrition are the ones that have more light in it. The foods that have less nutrition, like the modified foods that we were talking about early,
Yeah.
have less light in it.
Ah,
Less light,
that's
less life
yeah, that
in
makes
it.
sense.
So,
Yeah.
and that's all we're doing is feeding ourselves light. So, the photon
Yeah.
therapy is actually an emerging science in medicine that they're researching and trying to find ways to kind of include photon therapy or light therapy. So,
That's cool.
maybe in the near future, when we go to the doctors, it's going to be like, I'm going to go to my spa.
Yeah, I think that's what it will be. It'll be about light and sound. And those two
Light and
things will be the
sound.
healing modalities probably for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I think that um hopefully we're going in that direction. That's way easier than what we're doing now, right? I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's more
I'm
pleasurable.
Oh yeah, I'm all about it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the easy way. So
Me too.
you don't
Me
have to,
too.
you
Yeah.
don't have to sell me. I'll try it. I love the easy stuff. Okay, so now here's the thing. Now that you're on a you're not a regular fitness trainer, so we've established that. And you also provide you also provide your clients and audience an insightful um interview to explore wonders about consciousness and metaphysics in your podcast. You have a wonderful podcast, and I
Oh,
was on
thank
it as
you.
well. And a
Yes.
lot of the people that you bring in will explore concepts of consciousness and how to manifest and all these different wonderful metaphysical topics that, like you said in the beginning of the show, it's a holistic approach to your overall life. It's not just go
Yeah.
work out and stomp on the treadmill, or
Yeah.
but you can eat crappy food or junk food or whatever, or you can live a very stressful life. It's not going to function well. So
Yeah.
in your podcast, Integrate Yourself, what kind of topics can people expect to see and explore when they listen to that?
Well, yeah, and I think with what you said, just to piggyback on that, it's also about awareness. It's a deeper level of awareness, and holistic fitness is also about understanding the nuance within that, right? So this is why started the show, because I really wanted to, first of all, dive into it myself, dive into the nuance of health and wellness, because it's so much more than what we really learn about. Like we learn about mostly the basics, but we're not learning about all the other stuff, the moving parts that are going on. So I wanted to bring experts that would bring something to the table in that regard, and people I could learn from as well, or people I've already learned from. I bring them on the show, and as well as inspired me. So, but the show started out, I had a podcast, a co-host a while back when it started. And I had this desire to just get all this information out of my head, because I'd been doing all this research on hormones and nutrition for a long time. And I just wanted to share it with people because I felt like it was something that could really help people. And so that's how I started the show. So the first, like, I don't know how many, the first stretch of episodes is a lot about nutrition. And so if you want to learn more about nutrition science, it's really interesting, stuff about how it all works together and how you can balance hormones and that kind of thing. But as I progressed there, I just needed to do more. I wanted to go beyond just nutrition, and fitness, and start talking about things that were, um, more at play that we don't really get to talk about. And so I kind of have gone off in many other directions, but that's just because it's my passion, and it's something I have fun and love to do. So, I don't know, it's wherever it takes me really at this point. It's just kind of intuitive. So it's always a surprise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love because I was listening to some of the podcast episodes, and I love the different topics because of course I love metaphysics. And I know, as you know, that everything is spiritual. Your body, your mind, your
Yeah.
heart, everything is spiritual. The holographic reality is spiritual. It's all based on your consciousness.
Yeah.
And so it's a big integrated you know, holistic approach to everything. So
Right.
you can't just section out certain things and then avoid other things because it all plays together in perfect one perfect mandala, like I typically say. Now
Right. Right.
let me ask you this. Do
Hold
you
on 1 second, Vaughn. Just 1 second.
Okay.
I don't want my dog to keep barking. Hold on.
Okay, so what I lots and lots of really good nuggets of information for people to explore. And I know we're not going to get into your fifth dimension of fitness and all the different ways that you can kind of live and love in these higher dimensions in one episode. So this is just kind of a teaser. Go to Allison's website and materials for more information. But what I wanted to know is, do you have a last message that you want to leave people all over the world as they come out of the coronavirus pandemic together into better horizons in the near future? What's your last message for people?
Yeah, I'd say my last message is stop putting yourself on the back burner. Okay, so stop not like we just can't do that anymore, right? We really have to. We're at the point of no return where we have to step up and do what it takes to thrive as a society. I think otherwise, we're just going to keep downwardly spiraling, and I just have this um I just have this desire to help people understand more about their bodies, and learn how to trust their bodies, and know more about how to take control practically of the health, and that it's not that complicated. And I think if we all learn that we would feel so empowered about the future and not get so afraid when something like this crops up. um and that's what the 5D is all about. It is, if that's what you want to move into, you have to get on board with that, and like just learn all the things that you don't know or that you're curious about. Stop like making it a mystery. Hire somebody that will help you, take you through the process if that's what you need. But I say, just make it make yourself a priority. And that's what I talk a lot. That's what I'm going to be writing about, or am writing about a lot in my book, is like, how can we start? Like, what's the value in giving yourself interest? If you can't give yourself interest, and again, this is really just, I'm being totally blunt here. If you can't give yourself interest or pay it like an hour of attention to it, your body's going to be like, I mean, what if you did that like to your kid, or what if you did that to your plants? You just ignored them every day, or you talked bad to them, criticized them, didn't give them the time of day, looked at your phone when you're around them. You're doing that to your body. Your body is responding to you this way. So let's start thinking about our bodies as this beautiful vehicle that we're traveling through this earth plane on, and know that it's a living thing, right? And so it's going to respond to everything that we give it either in whatever way we're giving it. So if we can understand that a little bit better, I think we can get more grateful, find more joy in the process, get to know ourselves better. And then so other people's projections of how they're experiencing the world is not influencing us all in such a huge way, right? We've got, we're grounded in ourselves. And then that's a much better community to be living in, right?
Most definitely. Great words of
Yeah.
wisdom. Great,
Thank
great
you.
sage advice for everybody to take with them. Allison, I really have a feeling that, with, like you said, with all the knowledge that's just kind of pushing to come out into your fifth dimensional fitness and wellness book, I really think that's just going to be the first of many, many books coming out of you to come. So when
Thank
you
you.
do get that done, I want to be one of the first people to do your book interview.
You
Okay.
definitely will be, Vaughn.
Thank you.
Thank you
One
so
of the first. I
much.
don't have to be the
Yeah.
first, but one of the early ones.
Oh, you will. I'll call you first.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So thank you again for enjoyable interview. I feel like getting on the treadmill after this.
Yeah. That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so for everybody else, for more information about Allison Pelot's offering, go ahead and visit her website, which is Pure Energy PDX. PureEnergyPDX.com.
Yeah,
And
and I would just want to say one thing about that. The best way you can know about any events that are coming up, I'm going to be doing a group coaching program in March. Get on my newsletter, and that's the best way you'll hear about it. I have an Instagram as well. You can follow that, but the best way to know about events coming up is that. And so, just wanted to put that out there. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, those group sessions. So you see different people. So thank you kindly to our listeners for listening to another enlightening conversation. Until next time, have fun tuning up the vessel in which your beautiful soul resides in. And of course, happy Hanukkah, happy Diwali, happy Kwanzaa, happy Boxing Day, happy Omisoka, happy winter solstice, and last but not least, Merry Christmas to everyone. Blessings.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the fifth dimension. For more information about today's guest, please go to the show description. For more information about Vaughn's metaphysical work, please go to merkabachakras.com. The views expressed today are for entertainment purposes and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or replace any medical or legal advice. Don't forget to subscribe for more interviews about the fifth dimension. Until we meet again, blessings.